Hey guys, I'm just going to pretend like nothing happened to this series. The last week took around 3 years, but I mean, who's counting, right? For those new to the weekly roundup, it is a roundup of things I consider interesting. It may even be weekly. You'll get ARPG news, trailers I liked, the occasional personal bit, maybe a game that launched that's cool, and that's roughly it. I'm open to suggestions too, so if you found something fun, leave it in the comments and I'll have a look. With that said, let's have a look at the past week. Diablo 4 launched the Gauntlet. It is a dungeon that will get you on the leaderboard and provides a bit of loot. The Gauntlet itself has a fixed layout and a timer of 8 minutes and changes every week. Inside the dungeon, the monsters are level 124 and you can earn proofs of might by looting chests, killing monsters, killing bosses. The more proofs you collect, the higher your score. After each run, you get a seal of might and a bit of loot. The more seals you collect in the week, the more weekly rewards you're getting. And then there's the leaderboard itself with 4 ranks, a bit like any other leaderboard in, for example, League of Legends or StarCraft, but instead of Grandmaster, the highest rank is Worthy. And making that rank grants you the highest item level gear as a reward, level 925 gear. Apart from adding the Gauntlet, vampiric powers made it back into the game somehow, which is great, and many classes and abilities got buffed. I played a single run of the Gauntlet, that's the footage here, with my own gamer dad without kids necro build, and sure, I can see this is somewhat fun. I made it to Iron Willed, which is only 1 rank below the Worthy rank, making me think the top rank is achievable for a lot of builds. That's good, and I feel in line with how Diablo 4 has approached content by creating a game tailored towards a more casual audience. Most content creators don't like that approach, but I get it and I don't mind it. I enjoy the game for what it is. I do agree, however, with the criticism on the Gauntlet that it doesn't innovate in any way, and by the more hardcore players it isn't very well received. No surprise there, but for casuals it's okay, I think. Will this get players back into the game grinding the Gauntlet? Probably not, and in that sense it is a shame this wasn't there when the season launched, but it should be a nice addition for Season 4. I also feel a reset every week is too long. You can change this thing daily or every few days instead. I think that would be a lot better. The Slormancer posted their monthly devlog, the Slormite Chronicles, announcing a few things for their upcoming 0.8 patch end of March. They're about to add over 200 achievements to the game, a codex detailing most mechanics in the game, always useful, but most of all, this is going to be one big performance patch. They've made this video to showcase that, and yeah, it's quite a massive difference. This game is truly going places. It's a small indie gem and I recommend it to anyone. V Rising also posted a devlog. Currently, the way you get new powers in that game is by slaying bosses and drinking their blood. The issue is, you typically take on the bosses in a specific order, as some are much harder than others, and powers are fixed to those bosses. So in terms of powers, there's very little variety in your playthrough or between different playthroughs. To counter this, apart from fixed powers, which remain there, you'll also get spell points to spend on spells in a spellbook, giving players more agency on the spells they want to learn. Next to this, the devs are further preparing for their 1.0 launch by adding passives to spells, which can be very interesting. And finally, they are looking into a system that makes it easier to move your entire base from one zone to another. That's currently a pain point which they tend to address before the 1.0 launch, which is planned for the second half of Q2, so likely sometime in June. Yet more devs dropped an update. Also, Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon is making their way to the next patch. This early access game, which I've played quite a lot of already, will get a new patch in May, and in that patch we'll be getting an entire new area, which is exciting, plus a complete new system, the Weirdness. Now, for those familiar with Tainted Grail games, the Weirdness isn't new, but a quick explanation is that it's basically this magical mist that changes creatures in it, corrupts them even, but also provides all sorts of alteration effects. The Weirdness will play a role in Fall of Avalon as it occurs at dusk, it changes enemies, they will be more difficult to defeat, but they will also drop new unidentified loot. Overall, the game will get a bit harder, and it's not an easy game to begin with, but the 14-minute devlog video is great and I'm keen to check out this new update once it drops. I watched the Xbox Partner Preview event 2024. Normally I would take a clip or two from that, but the only thing I found slightly appealing was Unknown 9 Awakening. You play as a quester born with the ability to venture into a mysterious dimension, the Fold. This basically means you can step into your enemies to control them, dodge bullets, vanish in plain sight, hurl unbreak energy at your opponents and more. I like what I'm seeing, combat seems quite tactical, the art style is nice. I would be up for something like this. Time for a bit of patch news. Last Epoch is dropping patches left and right, and most of them are just bug fixes and dealing with server issues. However, patch 1.0.2 brought something you would rather not do as an ARPG developer, and that is mid-league nerfs, or as Last Epoch calls it, mid-cycle nerfs. To make matters even worse, they conducted then a survey on the mid-cycle nerfs, and if you want to see how bad that survey is, both from having it in the first place all the way to what's actually in it, I made a video about that topic for you to watch. I'll put it in the description. Trailer time. The best ARPG out there has started teaser season with these two beauties. Necropolis is there for PoE 1, where we may revisit all the boss fights. That's my take on this at least. And then Path of Exile 2, the One Ring to rule them all. I'm not that excited, genuinely excited about most games anymore. I would love to play a bunch of them, and I still love games in general, but I'm typically not like super excited for them anymore. But for this game, like Path of Exile 1 and 2, like they get me every time. And this will be no exception. Literally can't wait for this stuff to go live and for us to learn more about the upcoming leagues. Then, Voin, a solo dev first-person hack-and-slash game. Just look at the footage, I'm sure you get the idea. It's like Vermintide 2, made by one person. That wouldn't be great for a tagline, but I like what I'm seeing here honestly. The combat has a nice oomph to it, there's some skill involved, and I like the art style as well. There's a public playtest on March 8 if you're interested. That was yesterday, but it's still running. Just go to Steam and request access. And again, solo dev, we should be happy they make these games, let's hope it's any good. Something I just thought was clever, funny and quite original, Hollywood Animal, basically a movie studio sim where you're in charge of creating a movie and everything that comes with it, from writing the script, hiring actors, paying off people, doing all sorts of illegal stuff as well. This looks like a blast, so put it on your radar. Then, some games that released, just one really, Zoria, Age of Shattering. It's released now in 1.0, this squad-based tactical RPG with fluid turn-based combat, outposts and follower management set in an expansive fantasy world. It currently sits at a 74% rating on Steam, and critics seem to be around the 7 out of 10 mark as well, mostly citing lack of polish and quality of life as the main reasons that Zoria seems to outstay its welcome a bit. On the other hand, they mention inventive gameplay and it's only $25. And that's it for now guys, just a small cute little episode. Next week hopefully I'll be able to do another one. For now, thanks for watching and making it to the end. See you soon, love you all, bye bye.